Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 65 of Not the Worst at Knitting podcast. My name is Michelle, and I am the knitter and knitwear designer behind meeshyfrazz Knits. I am back today. It is a beautifully warm fall day. Actually, I said it was warm, but it's really not that warm. I guess the colors are warm, and that's what I'm thinking of right now, just because all of the fall colors are out. I'm looking at my window right now, and it's just so beautiful with all of the reds, yellows, and oranges. So I figured it was fitting to also wear something autumnal. Of course, am filming this a couple of days early, but this will probably be releasing on Halloween. So happy Halloween if you celebrate. I love Halloween, as you can tell. I have many pumpkins up. To be completely honest, the pumpkins that are up there, I have to replace like every day because Bagel knocks them down every day. And I keep doing it because I'm nuts, probably, but also, I don't know, I can't help myself. So it's just a battle/game that we have going for us. But in terms of what I am wearing today, I am wearing the Wool and Honey, and this is a pattern by Andrea Mowry. This is a pattern that she wrote many years ago. I knit this, I don't know, it's been many years since I even knit this. This is actually probably one of the only patterns that I have knit using the exact yarn and the exact color of yarn that was used in the sample. I used Brooklyn Tweed Loft in the color Ember or Embers, I'm not sure which. Sadly, I don't know if you can even get this yarn anymore now that Brooklyn Tweed is kind of done doing the yarn thing, but this was just one of those patterns where I loved the design so much. It was so clever with all of the honeycombs. I'm gonna move forward just in case so you can see. Looks like I've got a fuzzy. I've got fuzzies from all of the samples that I've pulled, but yeah, you can see the beautiful honeycomb detail. So it's just such a clever design. I love it so much. And I just thought that the color that she chose was perfect for honeycombs, and I couldn't really do any better. So that's what I went with. And I love to break this out in the fall. It's such a perfect fall autumnal sweater to wear. I love to bring it out in October and November. So this is actually the first time I'm wearing it in the season. So yay for that. Yay for it also being chilly enough for me to wear. So in today's episode, I actually have a couple of finished objects to talk about, which is exciting. I feel like the projects that I've been working on for a while. So it's really nice that those are done. And then I've got an old work in progress that I've brought back again, and a little bit of future plans about my next design that I will be doing. So why don't we go ahead and get started, and we can talk about my first finished object, which is my Anacortes Shawl. It is done. It's so big, I don't know if I can really show the whole thing on screen, but we're gonna try. So you can see it's just a nice big triangle shawl. This is a design I came up with that was really just based off of my Anacortes Pullover. The Anacortes Pullover, it's a 2x2 broken rib pattern, and then it has a 1x1 twisted rib on the raglan, and I loved the way that those lines juxtaposed each other, and I really wanted a shawl just where I had that line running right down the middle. And so that's what I did. It's quite simple. I wanted this to be very simple. I wanted this to be just something that you're gonna bundle a whole bunch of times around your neck. Of course, you could wear it like a traditional shawl that's draped over your back. I don't normally wear my shawls like that. I really wear them more as like bandanas around my neck. And so what I really wanted was just something really squishy and fluffy, but also quite light. And that's why I opted to do this in the Blue Sky Fibers brushed Suri, and this is in the color Whipped Cream. I'm actually in the middle of writing the pattern for this, and then I need to get it over to my tech editor, but this pattern will be coming soon. It's actually kind of fun because part of what I really wanted this in my wardrobe for is because last winter I bought this really beautiful red wool coat, and I found it on like deep clearance at Nordstrom, but the buttons were broken. So I had to get the buttons fixed, and it was kind of like an end of the year sort of thing. So I didn't actually wear it last year, but I'm very excited to wear it this year. And I just thought that with a nice, beautiful red wool coat, what would be better than just a really fuzzy, fluffy white neck item? And especially because the coat kind of comes like this, I figured a triangle shawl would be perfect to kind of fill in that space. So I'm really excited to wear this with that. Excited to break out that coat, which definitely maybe like another month or so. So this guy is done. Just in case you were curious, I did an I-cord tab cast on, which you can see there. I'm quite proud of that. I will be honest with you, I played around with the I-cord tab cast on a bunch, and I did that like 5 times before I did a version that I thought looked really nice and clean. And then that's the one that I decided to use and work with, just because it's not terribly difficult in general, but it is a little difficult with the brushed Suri, because the brushed Suri is kind of almost like a boucle, to where you've just got, oh, hi, Tuna. Tuna is reaching for me. I'm trying to make sure he's not getting my shawl. So the brush Suri, it's like a boucle because you've got all of these strands. So you've got kind of the main cord running through, and then you just have the brushed fiber that's running throughout. And it's really easy to pick up what looks like a stitch but isn't a stitch. And that's a little bit tricky with the I-cord tab cast on, because once you do your initial cast on and you knit your little I-cord, you actually have to pick up stitches from the side. And so it took a little bit of trial and error before I did a version where I was like, okay, these are picked up in the right stitches. This looks clean. It doesn't have a weird bump. It probably doesn't matter too much, because realistically it's going to be hidden. You know, when I wear it, it's going to be like wrapped around here, and I'm going to wrap both sides, and it's going to be kind of tucked in. But I just wanted to make sure that it was nice and clean, especially since I'm writing a pattern for it. I don't want the cast on to be ugly. So really happy that this guy is done. This is something that I worked on over the last couple of months. I took this to Hawaii with me. Granted, it didn't get a lot of work done in Hawaii because brushed Suri. But I did a lot more work on it when I came back. I'm going to hopefully finish writing the pattern within the next couple of days, and then I will get that to my tech editor, and that should be ready to go. Also, something really cool, if you are interested in this pattern, Blue Sky Fibers was really kind and generous, and they gave me extra yarn to do a giveaway with. So I figured once this pattern is released, I will do a giveaway with the pattern and the yarn. So keep an eye out for that. That will be in a future video. More details to come when this is more finalized. All right, next up on my finished object list, we have Rain City socks. I am trying to make sure these are the right side. I think they are. So these are done. These are the Rain City socks that I did for Thomas. This is a pattern that I did that just came out a couple of months ago, and Thomas wanted a pair, and so I let him pick out colors from my stash. I think he did a great job picking out colors. I actually really love this kind of like reverse dark version of the pattern. So the yarns that are used, the main color is So Happy Jane Joyful Fingering in the color Spruce. The raindrops are Knit Pick Stroll in the color Frost. The gray, which is the umbrella handle, is Sandnes Garn Sisu in Gray Heather, which I think is number 1024, is that right? 1042, so it's number 1042 Gray Heather. And then the pink, the umbrellas, that is Seaside Fiber Arts, Flora and Fauna 2-ply sock, or is it 4-ply sock? It's some sort of sock base. And that is in the color Lac. And so it's very slightly variegated, just barely. It just has little flecks of like darker pink in it. I just love the way these turned out. I actually did a shadow wrap heel on these. So normally for Thomas's socks, I do an afterthought heel. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I just didn't want to do an afterthought heel. So I did a shadow wrap heel. And he actually said he thinks he prefers the fit on this heel to the afterthought heel. And up to this point, he had preferred the afterthought heel over like a heel flap and gusset. So that is good to know. It seems that this is now both of our favorite heels. And honestly, it's the heel I prefer to knit. I just think it looks really nice. Like, I know this is kind of a weird thing, like a weird stance to have, but I always feel like a shadow wrap heel, it just makes the sock look like more of a traditional sock. I've never been a huge fan of the heel flap and gusset. Now I know that for fit reasons, some people prefer that just because it fits their foot better, and I totally get that. But going off of aesthetics, I just really prefer the look of a heel like this that cuts out of the sock in a way that kind of looks like your traditional sock. I don't know, call me weird, but that's my preference. So really glad these are done. They're a little baggy on the sock blocker. I really need to find, I don't know if they make extra large sock blockers, but I really need them for Thomas's socks because they do not fit on the large. The large is just too small. Like you can see the way that that's just not even hanging on. But I mean, it does an okay job of blocking them. So I blocked these a couple of days ago, finished them a couple of days ago, and I told Thomas he couldn't wear them until I showed them on the podcast. So now that I've shown them off, now he can wear them. Maybe we'll take some pictures first, and then, yeah. So these guys are done, and that's actually all of the sock knitting I have. I don't have any other socks on the needles, which is crazy. That's a lie. That's a lie. I actually do have a very old pair of Tally Alley socks. I was working on another, like an ankle pair. I haven't gotten very far on those. I should pick those back up actually, but maybe another time. So why don't we go ahead and talk about what's next. I'm trying to figure out where to put this shawl so it doesn't get in the way. Okay. Next up on my list, we have a work in progress that I put away for a while actually. And now this guy is finally back out. We have another Fidalgo cardigan, woo! So this is a cardigan, I actually started this. I cast this on for flock this year because I needed something to cast on. I needed something that was kind of simple that I didn't need to think too much about. And I don't know, Fidalgo was fresh on my mind, so that's what I did. This is using Malabrigo Rios in the color Pearl 10. You can see, it's funny how much more obvious it is on screen too, but you can see there is a bit of a line. I wonder if it's maybe more obvious on the back. Oof, yeah. I will say, in person, it's not really that bad. On screen, it's pretty noticeable. But I was looking at the different balls of yarn, and I don't think there's really any avoiding it. If you've ever worked with Malabrigo before, then you know that they don't really have dye lots because it's all basically hand-dyed yarn. So you kind of get what you get. And so I had debated going back and attaching a new ball, but I think I'm gonna kind of get that no matter what, because you can actually see the top portion around the shoulders. There's a little bit of variegation, and then there's kind of that new chunk in the middle. So we're gonna see how it blocks out. Again, in person, it's really not that obvious. It's just on screen when I'm shooting video where it's just really, really obvious. So moving past that, I am still really happy with the progress that I've made. I have just attached, what have I done? I think I've done 3 buttonholes so far. Yes. So I've done 3 buttonholes. My original pattern, which I actually have the original sample here, my original version, I only did 4 buttonholes, and it's a semi-cropped cardigan. For this version, I've decided that I'm gonna add 5 buttonholes, so it's gonna be a little bit longer. So I am about to add my 4th buttonhole now, and then I start the final section that has like half ribbing and then the buttonhole. Because as you can see, the last buttonhole is in the ribbing. This has been pretty fun though. I'm really glad this is back on my needles because I actually really do want to have this for like now. This really is kind of a perfect fall and winter garment. I've been wearing this guy a ton, and so it would be nice to have a dark version too, so I can kind of alternate. But I have been trying to figure out buttons for this, and this was really, really fun. So if you follow me on Instagram, then you might have seen that I actually had a poll trying to figure out what buttons I wanted to use. And I also actually put that poll on YouTube as well. I did a short. And thank you so much if you responded, if you gave an answer. It was really, really helpful. I still haven't decided. So I'm going to show the buttons just in case you didn't see either of those. I have narrowed it down to 2. So in the original poll that I did, I had 3 options. I'm dropping buttons everywhere now. So I have narrowed it down to these glittery ones, which hopefully that's doing it justice. I'll probably try and show them on the cardigan as well. So these are some purple glitter buttons that I made out of resin. I used UV resin and just a little bit of black glitter. So you can hopefully see what that looks like. It's relatively clear, so there's just a little bit of purple pigment powder in there and a little bit of black glitter and then just clear UV resin. And that's what does that. And then the other option that I have, which I had forgotten that I had these are some buttons from Warm Stripes. So Wendy of Warm Stripes, she's the one who made my buttons on my original Fidalgo cardigan. She actually sent me 2 colors. She sent me that darker pink, which I fell in love with for that original sample just because I thought those 2 colors went so well together. But then she also sent me this beautiful like lilac color. And I had seen it, I'd put them away because I knew that they wouldn't work as well for that. And then I knew I was working on, of course, a purple cardigan, but I was thinking they're probably too light. But honestly, I actually don't hate the way they look. So let's see if we can show that. I'll probably, maybe what I'll do is take some pictures so you can see. But I'm actually quite torn. So it does seem that this guy, the purple glitter, is hands down the winner overall. Everybody's picked it. With the lilac being a pretty close second. But I am torn just because I do kind of like the contrast of the lilac on the dark purple. Whereas my only concern with this guy, which I'm back and forth on, is the fact that you really don't see it. Now, on the one hand, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's what I'm, what I want to go for is like subtlety. You almost don't even notice the buttons. So I'm trying to figure out, do I want high contrast with the buttons or do I want you to not even notice them? And then when you're up close, you see like, oh, hey, these are kind of shiny. They're sparkly. They have glitter in them. So I haven't decided. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you have a preference. I'm gonna probably pop up a couple of photos just because I know those are so hard to show this way because I'm trying to like show you buttons while they're falling out of my hands, which is just, it doesn't work. So yeah, let me know if you have a preference and if you haven't already voted. And if you have voted, thank you so much. I very much appreciate it. I think it might just come down to when it's done. I don't know. I'm just gonna have to maybe take some side-by-side comparison photos and just see see which one speaks to me more because I just think both of them could work really well. That is the progress with this guy. Oh, and I forgot to mention, you might have noticed there is a little progress keeper on the back here. Speaking of Wendy of Warm Stripes, she's Warm Stripes on Etsy and Very Warm Stripes on Instagram. She made these ridiculously cute progress keepers. And as soon as I saw her post them, I had to buy them. They are ceramic as well, and oh God, they're so good. So let me show each of these. So they're little pumpkins. And so obviously you've got your little traditional orange pumpkin. You've got a little white pumpkin. And then my second favorite, might be tied with first favorite, is this little like bronze pumpkin. Oh God, look at that. Look at how cute that is. And then what sold me on it initially when she was showing was this kind of like blue brown one. Oh my God, I saw that one. And I think this was actually kind of like an accidental color. And I was like, no, I need that color. So she had a set. It was basically the set of 4. I actually think it was a set of 3 and she threw in an extra one. But these are so cute. They're just so cute. I'm also going to show, she gave me some buttons too, which it was something new that she was trying out, are these really fun speckly buttons. But I also wanted to show her card just in case you are interested because she does really cool stuff. So hopefully that is showing up. But those are all of her credentials. Very Warm Stripes on Instagram, Warm Stripes on Etsy. Definitely check her out. She is fabulous. She does all sorts of really cool stuff with ceramics. And it's always just really fun to see what she's working on and what she's playing with. I saw that she is playing around with Christmas light bulb stitch markers. And if you have been around here for a while, You know that last Christmas I was all about the Christmas light bulbs, hence my trim the tree socks. So as soon as she posted those, I was like, oh man, you need to let me know as soon as those are done because I need those. I actually bought some other light bulb Christmas light stitch markers last year as well, but hers are really, really cute. So I might need to get my hands on some of those. So that is progress on my Fidalgo cardigan. Now that I've picked it back up, it's moving pretty quickly. This is a worsted weight yarn, so it does move pretty fast. So hopefully I'll be done with the body decently soon and maybe be able to get some wear on this in November. So we will see how that goes. There's also a chance, I think I'm gonna have enough yarn. So this is what's left on the body for now. And then I have got 2 more of these. It should be enough. I think it's gonna be enough. If it's not, then the new ball of yarn I'll have to buy will be for the sleeves anyway. It's already a little bit crazy with some of the variegations, so I think it'll be okay if I have to buy another skein, but we will see on that. So that is it for what I'm working on. Speaking of Fidalgo, this is kind of my fun project that I don't have to think about. But now that I've cleared out what I'm designing right now, my next up on my queue is going to be the Fidalgo Pullover, and it's going to be using the So Happy Jane Sustain yarn in this color Night Bloom, which is so beautiful. Look at that. I got this at Flock this past year as well, and we were both so excited. Heather from So Happy Jane and I were so excited to be talking about doing a pullover version of the cardigan. And so that was another thing that I did a poll on Instagram. So again, thank you if you voted for that. I was very conflicted on necklines. I was debating between V-neck and crew neck. But I was really thinking that I think I wanted to keep the V-neck because of just the overall design of the cardigan. It seemed like even the pullover should have a V-neck. But then I was thinking to myself, okay, but if I do a V-neck, am I gonna do your traditional V-neck where, you know, you pick up and you have kind of your horizontal ribbing that goes this way? Or do I want to mimic the same ribbing that it already has? Which really, like deep down, I already knew that I wanted to mimic the same ribbing. Like I want it to feel very similar, just it won't have buttons down the front. It's just gonna be a pullover. And so I think what I'm gonna do is that same type of neckband, and then I will have them overlap over here. And then that's where you'll connect and add your little bit of the body. The one thing I need to think through is by doing that, so by doing the vertical ribbing that overlaps, you're only going to have a little bit here of like a very specific amount of stitches that you'll be picking up for the front body. And what that means in terms of sizing, like to do the increases to get to all of the different sizes, is that I might need to adjust how we do shaping under the arm to account for not being able to do an extra bit of shaping here. I don't think it will make too much of a difference just because I had to make those adjustments in general because I wanted to make sure that the larger sizes didn't have a V that was like down to their belly button. So that was already kind of accounted for, but I am curious when I start to do the numbers how that's gonna look, because the big thing is I don't think I want the V to be that deep. I think I want the V to be a little bit higher. I'm back and forth on it, but really I think I'm probably not gonna go for a super deep V. So I don't know that it will be as deep as the cardigan. It's probably gonna come up just a little bit higher. But I need to do some math. I need to figure that out. But again, thank you if you voted on the poll about necklines. It was really, really fun to see. I'm pretty sure that neckline is the one that won, the vertical with the fold over. But it was pretty close actually, and there were a surprising amount of people who voted for crew necks. I found that interesting because a few months back, I was chatting on here on YouTube about making it a pullover and trying to decide if I wanted V-neck or crew neck, and pretty much everybody in the comments was like, it's got to be a v-neck, no crew neck. So it was interesting to see that on Instagram there were still a lot of people who wanted a crew neck. So it has made me wonder about maybe I would want to do a crew neck version as well eventually, but I'm not sure yet. What I do know is I want this one to be a v-neck, and I want it to be the vertical ribbing. So I'm a little bit antsy to actually get those numbers going, because I really do want to get this on my needles and get that started. Because of course I think that would be really nice to wear this this season. So stay tuned on more to come about that. But that's it. So I guess now we can go ahead and talk about book chat. We can chat a little bit about the books that I have been reading and or not reading. So the last video I was on here, I was talking about how I was in a little bit of a reading slump. I had a couple of books that I was sort of reading where I felt like they were really slow. One of those was The Listeners by Maggie Stiefvater. I have actually since put that book on hold. I'm not going to DNF it because I actually do want to read it. I'm intrigued by the story. It's basically about a luxury hotel in the mountains of West Virginia that is holding kind of like a summit during World War II to maybe discuss peace talks, but has a lot of enemies of war there, and so there's a lot of conflict, and there's this idea that the water that the hotel sits on has some sort of magical energy, and it takes on the energy of those that stay at the hotel, and there's concern about these evil entities kind of being on the land and maybe having some level of impact on the hotel and the surroundings. So the story is super intriguing, right? Like that sounds super interesting, but it's a bit of a slow start. So I think I'm only about 18 to 20% into that book, and I was just really struggling to get into it. And then some of my holds from deep in my Libby queue came through kind of all at once. So The Wedding People by Alison Esbach, is that her name? That book came through, and that's one I have been seeing everybody talk about. And as soon as that came through, I was like, okay, I just need to stop this book and I need to start The Wedding People. Because I've just heard so many people say so many great things, and I would agree. I already finished it. It did not take me long to finish. I read it in just a few days because I just couldn't put it down. Now, I will go in with a big warning. There are some very heavy topics very early on, like very dark topics. I will just generalize and say that the main character is struggling. She's struggling with her mental health. And so you're kind of brought into the story at that stage of her life where she's essentially hit rock bottom. And what ends up happening is she gets thrown into this situation with a bunch of wedding people that she kind of sort of accidentally crashes. And things kind of happen from there. I really don't want to say too much about this because it kind of jumps right into it right out the bat. But it's just a really nice story about kind of finding yourself and starting over and, you know, dealing with hardships in life and how to handle that. And so if you go in knowing that there's some really, really heavy topics, the writing is worth it. I found myself not wanting to put the book down. This is one of those books where I was reading it until 2:30 in the morning and like forcing myself to sleep because I just wanted to keep reading. It was just, I don't know, I just really enjoyed the writing style and I wanted to learn more about the character and everything that she had been through. So I would recommend that book. Just go in reading the trigger warnings, make sure you're okay with those sort of topics before you get started. That's all I would say. And so next on my Libby queue, it popped up around the same time and I just started, it's called Don't Let Him In by Lisa Jewell. This is a fairly new book of hers. I've typically enjoyed her books. She tends to write like mystery thriller books, and this is no exception, of course. So this is basically, it's kind of following a con man, essentially, and you are following him throughout all of the women he's duped. And it's sort of set in present day where you're with the woman that he is kind of with currently, and then you're also jumping back in time to all the different women that he has been with and what he has done and what the relationship has been like versus what he perceives it to be. And it's interesting. I will say I'm reading it quickly. I am about halfway. I'm definitely going to finish reading it, and I'm intrigued enough. Again, it's one of those where the writing style it's just paced really well, and I want to know what's going to happen with each character. I want to know how it's going to end up. The one thing that's tricky is you are following him. You're following him as the main character, and he's a pretty terrible dude. But you're supposed to think he's terrible. But it is very interesting to follow it from that perspective. And so I'm enjoying the read. Again, yeah, it's got some darker tones to it. It is a mystery thriller. It felt good for this time of year. You know, I was talking last video all about how I wanted my spooky season books. This one is maybe a little bit more sinister, but it's not super heavy, at least not yet. I'm only halfway, so I don't know what's about to happen. I don't know if it's about to get a whole lot heavier, but it's also got a really nice pace, so it's moving along quickly. I typically enjoy Lisa Jewell's books, so yeah, we'll see how this one goes. Next up on my list is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. That actually came through for me on Libby at the same time with the audiobook and the digital book for Kobo. And so I've started to listen to the audiobook on my walks, but I haven't gotten super far in, but I'm already really hooked. But I'm still really early days, so I'll chat more about that in the future when that's kind of my primary read, probably when I switch to reading it on my e-reader. Because realistically, that's where I prefer to read, but I do like to have an audiobook when I'm on my walks just to kind of, I don't know, make it more interesting. So those are all of the books that I'm reading right now. Let me know if you have some good spooky season recommendations. Being that it is Halloween, now is the perfect time. I think over the next couple of days, we're going to be watching all of our spooky shows. I also have, it's out of frame. Actually, I'm going to grab it because it's so fun. Okay, so I've been saving this for Halloween. I bought this puzzle. It's The World of Dracula. It's a 1,000-piece puzzle. I bought this at my local bookstore over the summer sometime. I don't even remember when. And I have been so excited to work on it, but I purposely didn't want to do it until Halloween. So, of course, it's not quite Halloween yet while I'm filming, but when this video goes up, it will be Halloween. So Halloween night, we're gonna put on something spooky. I'm gonna break out my little puzzle holder, and we are gonna work on this Dracula puzzle, and I'm so ready. You know, I love Dracula, I love puzzles, put the two together, sold. So let me know what you have planned for Halloween, if you have any fun plans going on, if you've got any fun knitting that you do for Halloween, or I'm actually curious, for those of you that, you know, take kids out for trick-or-treating, do you bring a knitted project with you? Like, do you work on something while you're doing the trick-or-treating, or is that just like too much to do all at once? I've always been curious about that. I will knit sometimes when I'm on the Peloton, but I haven't yet taken knitting out for a walk. But I've been thinking about it lately just because I think it would be fun, especially if I'm just gonna take like a vanilla sock or something where I don't need to worry about color work or cables or anything, and I'm just kind of knitting a tube, something really small. I think I could do that. I'm terribly worried that I'm going to do that and then like fall on my face. At least on the Peloton, I've got places where I can kind of like hang everything and I can just go at a very slow pace. But I do wonder, and I do feel like trick-or-treating is one of those where it's kind of perfect to bring a little knitting project with you because there's so much time where you are walking, but then there's a lot of standing around. So yeah, let me know if you've got a specific project you're working on while you're doing trick-or-treating, or any sort of, even if you're at home. I mean, I will say that's what we do. We'll be at home. We get some kids for Halloween. It's definitely less so since COVID. I think there were a lot more before the pandemic, and now we get a handful. But yeah, we'll have candy and we'll watch our little spooky show or movie. And although I will say I will be puzzling more than knitting. So We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, so I hope that you have a very happy Halloween wherever you are. Thank you so much for watching. If you stuck around until now, if you would like to get in touch with me, I am meeshyfrazz on Instagram and Ravelry. You can email me at meeshyfrazz@gmail.com, and you can find me on my website, which is meeshyfrazzknits.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.